This broadcast is inappropriate for all ages, right here on hashtag WeAreMovieClub. It's time for Scary Movie Squad. I am Camerai. Salutations and welcome. As you can see, for Scary Movie Squad this week, we watched Viral, and it just happened, so if you want to try to join us, despite any difficulties Rabbit may be giving me at any particular time, because I have found no consistencies with it. Join us over at Rabbit slash Camerai, and we'll watch some movies. I'm gonna play with self-hosting some more stuff. We did Viral this week, so next week we are going to do Quarantine, which I'm gonna host myself because, damn it, I'm gonna get this. I'm going to figure out how to do it right. And I'm probably just going to play it local in a browser and then share that, because that seems to work. So this movie, I watched the first time. I was actually really impressed with it. I think I just come off watching something where like people get infected by watching a video online, like through social media. Let's push that back just a little bit. So comparatively, this was pretty awesome. And I'm not saying that this is a bad movie, but having just watched again, I can't say that it was a great movie. It turns out this is where I knew the raven-haired girl from the Mick, the eldest daughter, or the older sister rather. She was actually in this movie, and I know the other girl from somewhere. And I should probably just look things up instead of trying to. Ow, why does that hurt to type? Ow, that's fucking weird. It wasn't like that like 5-10 minutes ago. That's just, I don't know, that's a weird injury to have. I already did review that one. So this is all about a disease that breaks out. So this is kind of like an infected slash zombie slash parasite type thing. It's not quite Body Snatchers. I can't say that it's in that category because it's a little obvious when you're infected. So it's kind of zombies in the sense the zombies from I Am Legend, the Will Smith movie. Something more along those lines. And so Sophia Black-D'Elia is the nerdy sister who I mentioned is on the Mick. She was in Project Almanac as well. I did not realize she'd gotten around that much. What else has she been in? I could do that for a whole thing. Just surf IMDb online. Maybe we should try that sometime. I don't know. And then the other girl's Annalie Tipton, and Tipton sounds familiar. Looking at Crazy Stupid Love, Manhattan Love Story, which I know I saw, but I don't remember. Oh, he's dead, but he's getting warmer, Warm Bodies. So she was the best friend in Warm Bodies. She wasn't the main girl, but she was the best friend. I'm feeling like she was that in a couple other movies as well. Doogie Battle, Viral, Between Us. Speak Ryan, Lucy. She was in Lucy? Wow, okay. She was in some movie called Butt Whistle. Oh, I gotta click on that. Crazy Stupid Love, The Green Hornet as Annalie. I could have sworn she was in something else, and I'm thinking of the girl from Juno. Not Ellen Page, but Ellen Page's best friend there, and they look a little bit different. I cannot believe there is a movie called Butt Whistle. If I'm being honest, it's on Prime Video, Amazon Prime, if you will. Looking at this cast, it looks like she's oh my god! Wait, hold on. Unless is that Punisher? Oh, I recognize him too. There's actually people I recognize in this fucking movie. Jason E. Kelly, Skylar Grisondo, Thomas Jane, Adir Kalan. I really... Okay, just add it to the watch list and let's get out of this. This is a rabbit hole I did not want. Yeah, Thomas Jane. Thomas Jane is in The Punisher. Was he in... Oh, he's in The Expanse. I need to go back and make sure I've watched that. Hung. Medium. I was thinking he was in... Now, he reminds me of the guy from... damn it. Warehouse 13's counterpart. I can't remember that show now. Eureka. That's it. Eureka. It was Eureka. And then Adir Kalan is the nerdy Indian guy from several movies. He was in Fired Up, Mall Cop, apparently No Strings Attached, Youth in Revolt. He was... Oh, I think he was Timmy in Van Wilder. Yes, no, yes, no. But he was Fahood in Paul Blart Mall Cop, which I know was a weird thing. He was not Timmy. That's me being racist, apparently. Oh, no, he was Timmy, but it was on Rules of Engagement. That's what it was. And I liked that show. I remember Timmy. Sorry, I got distracted. There's a pretty lady. In one of these. It wasn't even the movies that we're talking about. Just get out of the rabbit hole. Escape. Abort. Okay, viral, though. So it's... it's trying to be kind of an everyman movie at the beginning here. It starts very cleanly with a lot of establishing shots. And it does what it does very well from a writing standpoint. It almost seems like... How do I say it? Like, it was a student film that went too far. Like, somebody's looking at their outline like, okay, I've got to make sure I got this, and this. And when I set this up, or when I want to do this, I have to have this beforehand. And they don't waste anything. They don't show things they don't need. They bring in asshole boyfriend. He causes a conflict by cheating on her. And then he comes back later to finish his purpose. It is very clean writing. There's not like a lot of loopholes or anything like that, like you normally get in bad scary movies. Again, I think the writing's pretty solid on this one. I really have to say that. So, like I said, at the beginning they started Everyman. They wanted to feel like it's just another coming of age story. It's every day in high school. Oh, you're a bitch. Oh, let me steal your food. Whatever. But as they're doing that, they're also having news reports of some disease, and because it's America, fuck yeah, because of that aspect of it, we're very much of people who are like, oh, it's not happening to us, it's basically fiction, and it is sometimes ridiculous the levels it goes to. This movie plays with that a little bit, so we get these people going, whatever. Oh, it's some guy spitting up blood on this lady in an elevator. I'll turn this off and go bang the guy outside now. It's just one of those things. It's like we can't take it seriously. Like, and people run to the extremes of both ends of that. It's like when like swine flu was hitting or bird flu was hitting. We had people that were just like, oh well, what's on Simpsons today? And then and I get that angle of it, because if you can't control it, then whatever. But like they were as far as like oh, I need to go to the mall. It's like, no, don't go to highly populated areas. If you're going to the airport, take precautions. Wear a condom or a face condom, whatever they're actually called. I'm just doing this. I don't care anymore. I don't care. You can't make me care. Oh, it's a kitty. What are you doing, kitty? What are you playing with? You're playing with something. All right, get the mouse. Yeah. So they try to add very normal things into this. Can't do it. Into this storyline about this like supernatural event happening, and it's not. And that's the thing. It's not even a supernatural event. Like in theory, if this strain of parasite existed, it could absolutely happen. But like there's one part at the beginning I want to mention. I thought it was so funny, where it's like there's the wild sister and the conservative sister, and then the wild sister's like, Like, grab his cock before I tell him you love him. And it was through text. It was like a weird setup. It's the one thing that, like, they showed the gun, but it didn't fire. Like, they showed texting as a message form of communication between the sisters, and then they kind of abandoned that. And I'm glad, because I hate that in movies. Because not only is it reading in movies, but it's not even subtitles. So, like, I have to read the phone, I have to match the angle. I just adjust to how I just don't want it. So like I said, there's a lot of normal stuff happening. There's the stuff going on with the disease. Sorry, I'm trying to get through my own whatever's going on with me. So in school, they're conveniently talking about bot flies, which are a parasite. And it's like they should have been just taking notes, etching it in blood on their arm so that they knew what to do later for the rest of the movie. Though they did okay here and there. They play with a very particular aspect of a zombie movie, and hold on, we'll get there. So nurses examining them, so they're going over, like, they're looking at eyes, skin. They know that the disease transfers through the mucous membrane, usually through blood contact, and a lot of these people are spitting up blood instead of biting people like zombies would. They're spitting up blood, and it turns out that what they're actually doing in part is shooting worms at people, and the worms are crawling inside from there too as well. So oh man, so like when it actually breaks out like in a serious fashion, the CDC shows up while sister's still goofing around and everything. They want to go to this party, or she wants to go to this party. She ends up using nerd sister's phone to invite cute guy, so it gets all the core characters right there together. And of course, something happens at this party that no one's supposed to be having, because there's a military curfew out, and it's a bunch of stupid kids whose like parents aren't in town for whatever reason. I guess it's SoCal. Who knows what the reason is for that? So like even cute guy and nerd girl had gone upstairs to find a tub together. I don't know why that's what happened, but like she ends up coming out getting her sister, and they end up hiding away in a room that has like part of it walled off. They end up coming through the room. All right, later streaming. So they end up like hiding, and there's this really cool shot. I have other notes. Oh yeah, they had a really cool shot about like looking through like a glory hole almost. And this girl's kind of wandering around. You can't really tell what's up with her, and then she gets attacked, and the guy, who knows what happened to her because it's all off camera. But like he's obviously attacking her, getting some kind of advantage, and he looks up and he's all fucked up. And she didn't get attacked until she made noise, so that's important. That's a little bit of foreshadowing there to happen. And by this point, I'm really wondering, like, what is a good strategy for this? Because obviously, like, in normal disease scenarios, you don't gather people up. This was a fucking stupid idea to have this party. Like, does your zombie plan apply, though? Do you try to get away and just go to the most remote part you can? Is that a thing? Do you go north? Do you head south to the equator? Which I probably wouldn't suggest, but maybe north would work in this case. For normal zombies, I could understand the argument. The idea is that they'll freeze, or won't be able to move as fast, things like that. So yeah, you don't gather like this if you can't avoid it. And I fucking hate my internet. I just want to say that right now. I don't know what the fucking deal is. So the CDC ends up coming by. They scan both the girls. They specifically look at the back of their neck, which is another good foreshadowing thing. See what I'm saying? Like, it's very academic. It's like they know they want to do a thing, so they make sure they set up an establishing shot of some kind to give like just the tiniest bit of foreshadowing, and then they do it, and they do that well enough. But I know that it's not like a fantastic movie, so it's understandable if people are underwhelmed by it. because it's a good movie, and I like seeing good movies, but it's not a fantastic movie, so a lot of people are assholes about it. Oh yeah, so Dad ends up calling them, barricade him in, they get the thing. I like how the infected girl is the one that ends up... I didn't even mention that she got infected. That's alright. It's one of the sisters get infected. It's the basis for the movie. It's actually a really good trope that they play with for a zombie movie, is like, what do you do with someone when they're alive but infected and not just killed by a zombie? Like, do you keep them around? Do you kill them immediately? Do you quarantine them? What do you do? In this case, it's actually a parasite. It's a living thing inside the person. So in theory, you might be able to get away with removing it, which is another thing they play with. So little by little, she's shown like feeling her neck and like feeling the things going on inside her. So there's even a point where like eventually it gets the breathing hole going, and she pokes it with a needle. And then she has like a pain reaction to it, like it shocks her. So it becomes very unclear at which point it stops riding her and then starts driving her completely. Because I'm just gonna, I love to just walk through scene by scene, but I don't typically do that on this show. But we see like the stepdad break through the door at one point, and the worm things actually end up coming out of his ears and doing echolocation. To the point where like it starts honing in on the girl breathing, and then touches her face, and then it's trying to figure out if it's something it needs to attack. The guy's sight is completely gone at that point, since the smell is probably gone. Obviously his hearing's gone. He's got worms through his fucking eardrums. Who knows if he can feel himself? It's the worm actually touching. There's a certain point where the worm has eaten away at enough of you physically that you're no longer there mentally. And at that point, so Evans kind of joined the party. But after all that, after she blows the guy away, she starts having seizures, and who knows if it's just a seizure like we see at the beginning of the movie, or if it's the worm actually doing like a shock treatment on her for attacking another infected. Because they seem to have some kind of community or communal behavior of some kind. We see them later like in a dark room together, and like they're networking or something. Like they're actually going from mouth to mouth. There's a guy in the middle of the room, everyone else is kind of standing there, and like their worms are pouring out of their mouths into his mouth, and then I think vice versa. So I don't know if they're migrating from body to body, if they're networking somehow, or if oh hell, I don't know, honestly. Even my white balancing is fucking breaking. What the shit? I gotta clean this camera, but still. So, yeah, the infected girl, like, just getting super hungry in there. That's a whole awesome thing. Like, her knowing she's infected and trying to do the best by her sister and herself if possible. And then they lock her under the stairs or whatever, or in the bathroom or whatever it is. And it's just interesting to see that living dynamic of like, oh, what do we do with this infected, and make that kind of the point, because usually in a zombie story it's a conflict that happens. It's just something in the way of the major story instead of the story itself, and here it's pretty much the story by that point, because they're not going out fighting zombies, they're not getting attacked heavily throughout the movie, and maybe that's part of what doesn't make this a good movie for some of the people I've talked to about it, is that they're expecting a zombie movie where it's like they're under attack the whole time, they're trying to defend themselves. It's all about strategy of how to live. This is more of a strategy of how to escape or survive the infection, which is not typical for zombie / infected type movies. But for a parasite movie, oh god, excuse me, wow. It is kind of typical. Like body snatchers and whatnot, they're constantly trying to figure out how to get rid of the parasites and save the hosts. So like they even trick the CDC by changing their tag symbol on their building to how many people are removed from the house, so that the CDC thinks it's empty. And then like they're dealing with her, and they go as far as to try to perform, God, do you even call it surgery? on her, and I think, in retrospect, like, having seen the whole movie, spoilers, whatever you want to say, like, I think the parasite tricked them. I think she probably took a lower dose than she needed to actually knock her out. But they went through the whole song and dance of, like, giving her some kind of drugs to knock her out, if only temporarily, and then taping over the parasite's breathing hole to trick it to come out, and then removing the tape and pulling it out of her. But who knows how much more there was of it in her, if there was more than one, if whatever. And then, like, she gives her soup, and who knows if that triggers something else. Like, she had eggs in her stomach, and then once the food hit, they started eating that, and then took over again as a whole new infection. It could be so many things that we don't get the answers. We don't get a lot of answers that we would normally get in here from people trying to fight these things. Because normally you're so overwhelmed that you have to fight, or you're actively going out against them. It's very different in this movie than a lot of movies. I'm just now kind of realizing that, so I'm actually kind of torn on this. Maybe the movie's not as good as I thought it was, but I still say it's a good movie. Is it a blockbuster that's going to bring home the bacon? No. It's definitely not that. And I'm sorry for the people in that, because I think the actors did a good job for what they were given. I think the writing's solid. Maybe the choice of story for which it was written could have been a little better, and they could have put a little bit more action in there for the people who hunger for that sort of thing. And they didn't even go up on the gore, which I'm happy about, honestly. But I mean, the big problem with this story is simply that they forgot to account for the 24-hour observational period. They should have waited 24 hours. Maybe they did. Maybe that was what she was sleeping in the bed for and everything. Like, but they should have kept her locked up for 24 hours, because that could have very well been the thing. It was just waiting for them to stop paying attention to it long enough for it to get enough food and escape. But going out into the world, trying to save her one last time, and finding that room of infected, that was really cool. I thought that was a good way to do it. I like that they foreshadowed that the army was splitting. They missed a little continuity. There was, like, so the dude comes in and says, "Hey, the army split, let's go." He gets his arm chewed off, and then the army comes by, like, in, like, 2 scenes later, and then there's a bombing run that happens, because they end up having to get out of there, and they do this weird jump from roof to roof to the pool, and I don't know. Like, I don't think a pool is a good idea. I'd be very surprised if, like, debris didn't fly into the pool and kill them. I think any radiation from the bombing, I'm not saying it was nukes, but still minor radiation would still be in the atmosphere. I still think the oxygen would be burned out of the atmosphere for a little bit afterwards. It would be hard to breathe once they came up. And once they came up from being underwater for that long, they'd be gasping pretty hard, I would think. And it's them on, like, this romantic, sappy ending, and I don't know. I don't know what this perspective is. It's almost like it was... it's gonna sound mean, but just bear with me. It's almost like, stereotypically, a high school girl who's attending college wrote this for her college project. So I guess an immature college girl. Because she had no, that's what it is. It's a college girl who wrote this in high school, finally has the ability to make it come to life, and does so in college, and does it very academically, and does it very academically well, but it's just missing that little punch that she wouldn't have had the cognizance to have back in high school, but she should have had in college. And again, her being a girl is only important stereotypically. And so that's a little sexist, but it's correlation, not causation. I recognize that it's not true, but it's accepted trope-wise, if you will, that girls tend to do more emotional, sappy things because they are more mature and in touch with their personal selves, where guys are like, yeah, explosions, rock on, bleh! And I've seen girls do that. I've seen guys do the other thing, and I'd probably put myself in that camp with the guys. I can do an explosion or two. That's fine, but I don't know. I like more intimate settings for not displays of masculinity. Jesus. For action scenes like that, I think it's more impactful to like have a knife to the throat, or like have someone in a stranglehold of some kind. What the fuck are you doing over there? Rather than go with the big explosion that's going on over there. Yeah, explosions, cool, fine, whatever. But what fuck, what was I gonna say? What I want out of what I want out of it is just something more meaningful that you're seeing. Because an explosion that doesn't have anything to do with the character is just like a poison that's happening. It's like you didn't actually do anything, you just let something happen. It's actually not as dominant an act to me. Yeah, they're still dead, but it's like, you didn't do it. You're not the force of power. You're someone who allowed the flow of the water to kill somebody, not kill them yourself. So, I don't know. I like this movie. I don't have a review up for it yet, so I can't give you a score or anything like that. But keep an eye on the Tumbly. Next week we are going to do Quarantine. If you've seen the Record franchise, it's a Spanish film franchise. Quarantine is the American adaptation of the first movie. I think it's vastly improved by being Americanized on this time. And usually I'm on the opposite side of the fence. I usually think the original work is better, but I really think they did a really good job in Quarantine. I've watched Record, and maybe I don't enjoy reading my movie, but as good a job as they did in Record, I think the updating technology is just better. So maybe by Record 3 or 4, they've got this about the same standard. But I hate my internet. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and go. Yeah. So thanks for watching. This has been Scary Movie Squad right here on #WeAreMovieClub. You want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations and they'll take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.